Hello, I'm Zaylee Skuliak, and I chose to do the Puritans for my blog and my vlog. So the Puritans were English Protestant Christians, and they were primarily active between the 16th century and the 18th century. So King Henry IX of England actually rejected Catholicism, and he designed the Anglican Church. However, some of the Puritans felt that the Anglican Church wasn't fully separated from Catholicism, and they wanted to further purify it from the rest of the Catholic practices that they didn't agree with. It wasn't like the religious aspects that they rejected, it was more so holidays, specifically Christmas, they didn't like, and then various forms of entertainment. For examples, bear baiting, dog fights, cockfights, and the theater. So the term Puritan was originally brought up as an insult actually by the Anglicans. They thought that the Puritans were too easily offended, and they were nitpicking and just causing trouble. So that's the word that they came up with to describe them. The Puritans actually referred to themselves as saints. They felt that that more accurately represented what they stood for. So the most important thing to the Puritans was their religious belief. This is how they decided how they carry themselves throughout the world and how they have hope for another life after this one. Puritans thought very highly of themselves. According to the City on a Hill speech, Massachusetts Bay Colony was the city to be. They thought that everybody had their eyes on them and that everybody wanted to be them. They thought that they were kind of like the role model city. So under the ruling of Queen Elizabeth I of England, Puritans were accommodated. However, under her successor, James I of England, they were persecuted. So due to this persecution, about half the passengers that were on the Mayflower were Puritan separatists, and they were trying to flee persecution. They felt that the church was too far gone and that it could not be fixed, and that anyone who truly believed in the church needed to separate themselves so that they could worship the way that they needed to. So the passengers that came over on the Mayflower eventually formed Plymouth Colony, and the formation of this colony influenced the Great Migration. The Great Migration was where about 20,000 English Puritans migrated to New England, and they were attempting to escape the Anglican practices, and they wanted to find their own colonies where they were able to worship freely without the fear of being persecuted. So during this migration was where the Puritans encountered the Indians, and I felt that this was one of their most significant encounters. So the Puritans saw the Indians as the complete opposite of them. According to American colonies, they considered them to be pagan peoples. They surrendered to live in the wild. And so the Puritans decided that they needed to convert the land and the Indians to fit their morals so that their people wouldn't be contaminated by living this close to the Indians. So the Puritans influenced the development and the culture of the United States in so many ways. Throughout their years, they influenced 2 civil wars and the establishment of the Commonwealth. They also founded Harvard to train clergy and encourage medical knowledge and practice. They encouraged racism and sexism because they felt that Africans and Native Americans were naturally inclined towards Satan, and that women were too weak to resist the devil's temptations. And they engaged in and profited from the slave trade. They sold Native Americans as slaves after the Pequot Wars. And then finally, they influenced the governing bodies of most of the original 13 colonies. So they established how those colonies were going to be governed in the future.